put together all the other stuff this morning. All right, good morning, everybody. Sorry about the really late start here. I'm starting a bit light on some of the material, but we'll get into the maps straight away. First thing I'm going to show is just the S&P 500. The reason why I wanted to show this is just because just eventually to show how the bull market, I think, in this upward sloping trend line is still completely intact. Obviously, we came down and we tested, a couple times intradays here, but we're still intact on this uptrend. I think it's really important to realize that. Another one I'm going to show here, I'll show the FTSE. FTSE also kind of held some major support where we broke out here. FTSE held that, and we looked like we could be starting to move to the upside of this little flag pattern. So FTSE's one to watch today. I think this is going to be a good one for us to take our signals from going forward. So let's watch this one closely. But I think we still are in a bull market. If we look at things broadly. So I just wanted to throw that out there so that we kind of get that general idea across. Naspers. This has been one of the strongest stocks on our board forever, obviously. This is all the pullback we managed to get out of this thing. 700 on a closing basis is really just held, impossibly well. This is a classic continuation pattern that we've been seeing throughout the year, where we just kind of pull back in a little rounded reversal here off the bottom. We come back up and we push straight through the highs and make new highs. And typically this happens in a lot of these overextended stocks. Everybody kind of trying to short, looking for a big correction. It doesn't come. And then all of a sudden I think some of the short covering runs it through previous highs. And then it tends to have quite a decent amount of legs going through there. SAS will also show, just because I think this has got to be one of the picks of the litter here. You can do this on a closing basis down here, even a little bit lower than that, maybe around 416 Rand. And you can also look at it maybe on an intraday basis, closer to around 420. Either way, somewhere in there is really where our risk range is. That's an area where I think we've got to take the chance to try to buy this thing off of support. This thing in terms of resources is really the only one I think you can play with any sort of reliability. It's getting a huge boost from the Rand. It's getting a huge boost out of the fact that oil's been the best performing commodity on the entire year as well. So that's you combine those two factors, and I think it's really got to be the go-to play in resources. And you got to think that that's what funds are also going to be thinking. Impalas, this is starting to look like the reverse of kind of that Naspers chart I guess I was showing you. Bit of a continuation pattern. If I shorten this up a little bit, you can see here how we really we really haven't been able to fully break down from 96. We tried to do it the other day. I think we closed right at 96 on this day, where you see the green bar. We opened up below and then managed to trade up a little bit. But 96 is on a closing basis. Close below 96 is what I'd be looking for this thing to move down even further. On an intraday basis, maybe for it to get below 94.50 or something like that. But those are the levels in Impalas. I think that this thing has been able to show very, very little strength on this, on the bounce up that we saw across the board in commodities. So this one could have some further room to the downside if we get below that level. And then Anglo Gold. This chart's actually really interesting. If I just pull it forward a little bit. Let's just shorten it up even more. The symmetry of this pattern is incredible. When you look at it there on a closing basis, the lines are so perfectly obvious. It's quite nice to trade around some stocks like that sometimes, because you can clearly see where the exact risk and the exact reward I think is. You can see there this is really a bear flag when you kind of come in on the tail end of this downward spike. And so I think that if we break below, I would call I'd really prefer to see it get below 156. But if we we kind of move upside or downside dramatically here at all, 2-3 Rand, which is not even dramatic, I suppose, in the next the next day, then I think we could see some significant moves either way. So I think this is really a nice little descending wedge pattern that you can play to either side depending on which way the stock kind of goes over the course of the next day or two. So watch this one closely. I think this could be one to keep an eye on. And then also SA Breweries. If we back out SA Breweries, I mean, I've talked about this a lot. It's starting to make a bit of a reversal. This is the London price there. It's starting to give us kind of our first spike up, and this is really a little wedge pattern here on the back of this upward sloping trend. That's the reason why I really like it. And the second that we kind of get above this downtrend, this little short-term downtrend, I think you got to own it, and it's starting to get above that on LSE. Obviously, there's been a big RAND play that's factored in, and still holding support nicely here in RAND. So this is one that I really think that is worth a real nibble, especially because I don't think the RAND is really going to show any strength anytime really soon. So watch this one closely. I think if you can get this thing down below $500, I think you got to be nibbling the whole time. That's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.